When launch? SpaceX is racing towards Flight 8. The FAA releases new information about the Starship explosion and its physical impact. Is SpaceX in trouble? Ship 34 is ready for its test campaign. An asteroid might be on its way to impact Earth. Should we be worried? My name is Felix, welcome to What About It. Let's dive right in. Starship updates. 1 month has passed now and we've already had a Starship launch, a New Glenn launch and several missions to the moon. The second space race is evolving quickly and we're here to enjoy it. There is still nothing regarding Starship Flight 8 other than Elon Musk's statement that it should still happen in February. And we have something that's often confused as a possible launch date. February 24th is popping up everywhere right now, and the basis for it can be found in an FCC license SpaceX recently received. This license allows SpaceX to communicate with a Starship in flight, and the recently granted one goes from February 24th to August 24th, so exactly half a year. The thing is though that SpaceX's last one was for precisely 6 months before that as well. See the pattern? This is just an extension. SpaceX has to file for it every half year. The FCC filings are not to be confused with a launch license. Unfortunately, these have nothing to do with that, and they also don't show SpaceX's intent to launch a Starship at the beginning of the following 6 months license. But there is one small detail in it that at least gives us an NET, or not earlier than date. The filing states that new frequencies are specifically needed for communication during Flight 8. So we will not see a launch of Flight 8 before February 24th. The most significant factor influencing that estimate is the ongoing investigation of Flight 7. SpaceX's Ship 33, the first Block 2 ship to launch, didn't do particularly well and its flight ended in an explosion. This investigation is led by SpaceX. They are going through all the data and they're identifying causes and corrective measures. Once a report is written, it's handed over to the FAA. It's on the FAA to decide and then greenlight the next flight. The other very important factor to estimate when Flight 8 might happen is SpaceX's readiness. To launch a rocket, you don't just need a license, you also need a rocket. In this case, Ship 34 and Booster 15. Let's talk about Ship 34. Over the weekend, engine installation kicked into high gear inside Mega Bay 2. On January 29th, a vacuum Raptor was spotted being moved from Star Factory to Mega Bay 2 and installed on Ship 34. Let's refresh our knowledge. There are 2 versions of Raptor engines. Vacuum Raptors are the larger versions of the engines, optimized for space operations. The smaller sea-level Raptor engines are used for launch and landing. Large vacuum nozzles exist because space has less pressure. A nozzle gradually expands the gases coming out of an engine until they reach ambient pressure, which is much lower in space, thus the nozzles need to be wider. Using 2 different types of nozzles within and outside the atmosphere significantly increases engine efficiency. Version 2 Starships use 3 of these vacuum engines, while future versions will double that to 6 for better in-orbit performance. Now, we received a road closure for Highway 4 scheduled for the early morning hours of February 4th. When you watch this, it already happened. Engines installed and road closures in place. This is important because if SpaceX planned on rolling the ship, there would only be a delay between the production site and Massey's. However, if they planned on moving the booster, it would be from the production site to the launch site. Ship 34 only just received its engines, so it seems highly unlikely that they would be ready to test that ship so quickly, especially considering that they may still need to make some modifications to the ship following lessons learned from Flight 7. In other words, it could be possible that this will be for the booster rolling to the launch pad. If that is the case, the pad should be close to operational again in no time. But will this be fast enough to launch in the last week of February? While it is possible, looking back at previous Starship launches does paint a slightly different picture. As of now, the fastest turnaround time between the static fire of a booster and a launch was with Booster 13 on Flight 6, which launched 26 days after its static fire, and looking at almost every launch, it's a relatively similar story, with the average being just a little over a month. If we follow that logic, we'd be more likely looking at a launch in early March, however that ignores one critical fact. This is SpaceX we're talking about. The goal of Starship is to launch multiple times a day. SpaceX has been working hard to reduce that turnaround time as quickly as possible. The last week of February is still a possibility. However, it seems more likely that it will be closer to the end of the month or early next month. Before we go on about a possible launch date, our channel metrics show over 2 million returning monthly viewers who have not subscribed yet. Help improve the channel and double check that you've hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our updates. Like this video if you appreciate the content and become a wise supporter for extra content. Secure your access to up to 7 picture galleries per week, satellite, aerial and ground photos, and 3D animations. Chat with me and gain more insights on the topic you love. You feel like doing something crazy? Check out redlineheli.com/Felix for a once-in-a-lifetime experience and $25 off flying in a helicopter above Starbase. The Redline helicopter team is waiting for you. They'll show you the same views our photographers get on their Starbase flights. Now back to launch date speculations. If they want to be ready to launch and even static fire, they need to have the pad ready. That has likely been one of the main factors holding them back. Constant work is still being done on Pad A. In fact, we can get a pretty good idea of just how beat up this pad was after Flight 7 based on the fact that the current record between a previous launch and a static fire was after Flight 5, when SpaceX was able to static fire a booster just 11 days later. And since that launch included a catch too, it's a pretty good indication of SpaceX's trouble. This launch pad has been a massive headache for SpaceX since the very first flight of Starship, when it decided to turn from a launch pad into a crater. Even now, after multiple launches and SpaceX attempting to upgrade the pad numerous times, it still feels like a coin flip of how long the repairs are actually going to take. This is why we've been watching Pad B's development so carefully. It's supposed to take all the lessons learned from Pad A's failures and fix them by completely overhauling the design. Starting with what is likely the most visually different aspect of Pad B, the flame trench. This is designed to redirect the forces of a launch away from the sensitive equipment on both the launch pad and the rocket. This is crucial, as on the current pad, the forces produced at liftoff are reflected off the ground and sent straight back at the launch pad and the rocket. And while the water-cooled steel plate mitigates some of this, it's not nearly enough for a rocket of this size. This new flame diverter is an essential piece of hardware and it's getting pretty close to completion. Thanks to our flyover with Redline helicopter tours, we can see the massive amounts of work SpaceX has been performing here. With the entire flame trench now almost entirely excavated, they can finally begin the fun part: pouring concrete. In fact, during our flyover you can see the line of concrete trucks just waiting to finish this trench and the hose that delivers it to where it's needed. While excavation work is almost done, some last bits of work remain. SpaceX is finishing off this half of the launch pad and the other half still needs a bit more dirt removed. That likely won't take much longer given the progress we've seen. I wouldn't be surprised to see this flame trench complete in the next few weeks. SpaceX needs more than just the rocket to launch from this pad, it also needs the tower and its catch arms. Since their installation last week, things have been racing. While they are temporarily tied together to prevent them from swinging in the wind until the hydraulic actuators are installed, workers have begun installing the traveling block onto the catch arms. The drawworks cable runs through this block and attaches to the pulley at the top of the tower. This allows the chopsticks to move up and down the tower, making it one of the most vital parts of the system. And those aren't the only parts of this pad that have been coming together quickly. The ground support equipment that feeds this pad is also nearing completion even faster than we expected. Faster! So fast! The commodities trench extending from the fuel farm to Pad B originally appeared to need to grow just a bit more to reach the farm. Now it seems more likely that the tank farm will grow to meet it. SpaceX has been performing massive groundwork on the tank farm, and it appears that they are expanding it further toward Pad B. A few months ago we learned from a filing that SpaceX planned to expand the tank farm. However, after they began installing the hardware where the tanks were listed to go, it appeared that plans might be changing. Based on some foundation work, SpaceX is still going to expand the tank farm. We've spotted numerous tanks around Starbase, so it likely won't be long before that happens. The same can be said for the water deluge tanks, as SpaceX has also begun installing the other pedestals. So let's move on from the prep work for this hardware and actually look at the hardware itself at Sanchez. Before we talk about that, let's talk about the fact that the average person spends 4 to 7 hours online every day. Listen to this. In today's digital age, the average person spends 4 to 7 hours online every day. Given this statistic, internet safety is an increasingly relevant topic that is close to my heart. Think about it. We are spending so much time online, it's already a huge part of our daily lives. Surfshark, the sponsor of this video, is my go-to VPN to keep your data private and your browsing secure. What is a VPN now? A VPN creates a private network just for you, keeping prying eyes, hackers, and data breachers at bay. Your privacy matters, and Surfshark does exactly that. Surfshark is incredibly easy to use, and their Surfshark One cybersecurity package comes with a built-in antivirus to protect you from dangers like data worms and Trojan horses. Be worry-free if you're not familiar with these terms. Surfshark handles everything for you, so you don't need to be an expert. No matter if you're using a public internet connection or are surfing at home, Surfshark's got you covered. With proxy emails, instant alerts, and a fresh start if your data was compromised. Protect your whole family with one license. Use it on as many devices as you like. You want to take care of your parents, or you have a teenager in your home that seems to be attached to their phone? Surfshark has your back. Safety isn't just important in spaceflight, set a new standard for your family's life. Go to surfshark.com/Felix for 4 extra months of Surfshark. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Surfshark, surf with your own set of rules. Thank you, Surfshark. Now back to Sanchez, where a lot of things have happened too. The launch mount, which holds on to the boosters and fuels them before liftoff, is likely the most important piece of this new launch pad. It appears to be getting closer and closer to completion. All the feed pipes for the water-cooled launch deck have now been installed, and the final prep work is nearing completion. It's a very similar story for the flame diverter as well. Also sometimes referred to as a flame bucket, it is the central part of the flame trench. It redirects the force of 33 and later 35 Raptor engines at liftoff, so it needs to be highly robust. SpaceX aims to make it indestructible at best. It's progressing extremely quickly. SpaceX has completed one side of the protective pipes and is moving on to the other. And they're also already prepping for the installation of the next major part. The wedge, which splits the flames down the middle and experiences the greatest force during liftoff, has been moved from its storage location to where SpaceX has been prepping most of its hardware. Thus, we will likely see prep work on it begin shortly. Overall, the amount of work SpaceX has managed to complete on the ground hardware over the past few days has been truly incredible, and their flight hardware is a similar story. The next ship to fly should be ready now. It recently received its aft flaps and engines, meaning it should be nearing readiness for its static fire campaign. Although, as fast as that ship has been moving, its siblings have been moving even faster. The next ship in line after Flight 8, Ship 35, is now fully stacked. On the 31st, the aft section, which includes the thrust puck and the engine section for Ship 35, was rolled into Megabay 2 for stacking. From what we can tell, it appears similar to the aft section of Ship 34. Thus, any changes SpaceX plans to make to this ship's aft section will likely be made in the Megabay. After all, they may also wait to see how Ship 34 performs during its flight before making the same modifications to Ship 35. With this ship now stacked, the team should begin final preparation work to get it ready for its cryogenic testing campaign. However, this may take some time, as Ship 34 took around a month and a half between its final stacking and cryogenic campaign. This is far from the pace SpaceX wants to achieve. At this rate, ship production may become a bottleneck to their flight cadence, as they are still trying to figure out how to reuse the ships. They're taking steps to reduce the time it takes to build each ship, and Ship 36 is an excellent example. It's begun stacking already. Wait, but we haven't seen it leave the Star Factory yet. Well, it doesn't need to leave the Star Factory to begin stacking now, because SpaceX has finally moved the initial payload section stacking operations inside. We expected this would happen for a while, and now it appears the Star Factory finally has the capability to do so. This should help save quite a bit of time, as SpaceX no longer needs to roll the 2 separate payload sections over to the high bay for stacking, just to roll them back to the Star Factory afterward. Small iterations like this are how SpaceX is going to eventually get their production speed up, as a few days here or a few weeks there add up quickly. This new production speed bottleneck is quite different from their previous one, which was regulatory in nature. However, Flight 8 may still be slowed by it. Flight 7 wasn't just any typical failure. Ship 33 broke apart over the Turks and Caicos Islands, and while most of the debris fell into the water, some landed on the island. Even reports about debris hitting a car came out. Of course, this prompted the FAA to investigate, and now they have officially confirmed that it was in fact debris from a Starship. I reported about this on a recent episode. The most liked comment under it was that this was totally fake news and clickbait. Keep in mind that our interest here at Y is strictly in bringing you the updates, not fabricating them. If it is in the episode, we found evidence, otherwise it isn't. While they also confirmed that no injuries have been found yet, this still poses a problem, as it could lead to further investigations or possibly even SpaceX changing its flight path or safety procedures. This may cause further delays to Flight 8, however, the FAA has yet to comment. That is all the information there is on Flight 8. The most likely launch window as of now should be the end of February to the beginning of March. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Do you remember when Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams flew to space? Boeing's Starliner test flight was originally planned as a 10-day mission. It has now been extended to around 270 days, making it an epic voyage of epic proportions. This means that Butch and Sonny have been away for far longer than expected. If Butch and Sonny were library books, the overdue fees would be astronomical. There is one question remaining though. Are Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams finally on their way home? Almost. SpaceX and NASA have been tasked to bring them back to planet Earth. Even though I have never heard an astronaut complain about too much time in space, they must be looking forward to getting back to their friends and families. The SpaceX Crew 9 Crew 10 handover, originally scheduled for late March, was the planned date to bring Butch and Sonny home. However, due to the inherent challenges of space travel and the fact that Crew 10 will be utilizing a new Crew Dragon capsule, the return could potentially be expedited to the earliest feasible date. SpaceX has a proven track record of overcoming obstacles, and despite the complexities involved, they are likely to succeed in this endeavor. In the meantime, they went out into space, performing a spacewalk on January 30th to remove a faulty antenna assembly from a stowage platform at the ISS. With this spacewalk, Sonny Williams, who spent a total of 62 hours and 6 minutes spacewalking, has broken Peggy Whitson's record by 2 hours. She became the world's 4th most experienced spacewalker and the record holder for female astronauts. Now listen to this next one, as it might directly impact you. Pun intended. On December 27, 2024, astronomers spotted a new near-Earth asteroid, 2024 YR4. At first glance, it seemed like just another space rock, until follow-up observations revealed something way more interesting. Its orbit is on a potential collision course with Earth. The odds of impact are currently 1.2%. Now come on, 1.2% doesn't sound that dangerous, Felix. Is this clickbait again? Is it? Because your chances of winning the lottery are 1 in 140,000, and people still take their chances with that every day. Well, right now 2024 YR4 sits at level 3 on the Torino Impact Hazard Scale. The what now? The Torino scale ranks asteroid threats from 0, no risk, to 10, mass extinction. Most asteroids sit comfortably at level 0 or 1. That's the clickbait level. Either too small to worry about or a complete miss. So what's level 3 then? That means there is some chance of impact and potential for local destruction. It's rare for an asteroid to even get this high because most get downgraded as we collect more data. Scientists estimate 2024 YR4 is between 40 and 100 meters across. Although it poses no global threat, it is still big enough to flatten a city or worse, trigger massive tsunamis when it lands in the ocean. The shockwave alone would cause widespread destruction. Have you ever heard of the Tunguska event in 1908? Over 2,000 square kilometers of Siberian forest were flattened. It blew an estimated 80 million trees over like toothpicks. And it came down with the force of 250 Hiroshima nukes. Big bada boom. So how large was that one, you ask? 50 to 80 meters. That's it, about the same size as 2024 YR4. So what can we do? Right now, agencies like NASA are closely tracking the naughty asteroid. If it remains a serious threat, planetary defense systems like the DART mission, which successfully altered an asteroid's course, could be deployed. If this thing hits, the estimated date is December 22nd, 2032. Yep, right before Christmas. So maybe don't make too many holiday plans for 2032 just yet. By late 2025 or early 2026, we'll have a much clearer picture of 2024 YR4's trajectory. Most likely, it'll be downgraded. No need to panic just yet, but it's something to definitely keep an eye on, or two. Astronomers spot dozens of similar objects every year, proving that planetary defense needs to remain a top priority. Let me know in the comments, will 2024 YR4 be our first real asteroid defense test, or will it fizzle out like so many before it? That's it for today. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm, and this is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. A new Raptor design and our brand new Starship Block 2 design are both up. Link is in the description and in the card you should see now. Also check out our print store at shop.whataboutit.space to buy a picture for your favorite wall. A significant amount of every purchase goes directly to our photographer. And if you want to learn more about the fascinating story of SpaceX's Raptor 3 engine, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. That have been come on to the beginning of Mippy. Yes. Launch date, our launch metrics. Nope.